Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. My name is Ross Benjamin, host of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Wednesday, March the 6th, and like every Wednesday morning, I am joined by my two cohorts here, Mr. Sean Higgs and Mr. Jesse Schule, all three of us of gamblersworld.net, which is our sponsor site. And it's there at gamblersworld.net where we guarantee all our picks, our single game, multi game daily picks, as well as our subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, then we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. Congratulations to all of you who joined us yesterday as we went 2-1. That now makes the group 6-2 over the last three podcasts with our free picks. So always funny, guys. 6-2, and this one guy, I'm not even going to give him the attention he deserves. The one guy points out the Alabama over loser that I had on Saturday. So 6-2, and instead of concentrating on the six winners, he wants to concentrate on one loser. Never will eliminate that when it comes to it. Never will be able to control that. But in any event, we're used to it. Jesse, how are you?
Well, Ross had a bit of a losing day yesterday, but as you know, I've been doing pretty well. So take things in stride. But I went to the grocery store today. Tomahawk, ribeyes, Wagyu, half off. I got a couple of them. I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, that's the best news that could happen for a guy like me. Is Wagyu 50% off.
Yeah, no doubt. Jesse sent me a video this morning, or pictures this morning of him making some meatballs and right up my alley. So he's always he sends me these pictures at 7:30 in the morning, and it's like you want to eat dinner already when you're watching him cook because it's dinner time in Thailand where he is. So in any event, Sean, how are you, man?
I'm good. Real quick, Jesse. So when the tomahawks are half price, do you buy extra and throw them in the freezer? What do you do?
Yes, sir. I mean, does a bear poop in the woods, Sean?
Yes, you have to, right? You have to when it's half price.
Yeah.
No half price for me. 2-1 yesterday. Nice winning day. I'll take it. 62% the last 7 days college basketball since the 28th. That's what we do. It's March. It's time to roll out here. Free pick winner yesterday. Keep it going. Here we are. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's get it
Sean's
done.
on an unbelievable roll on his show he does by himself, Midday Money. Share that with the audience, Sean.
28-4 with the picks. And there's some, when I do the late show sometimes the night before, they're up to date. They're sometimes up the night ahead of time. So it's not like they're not posted. They're on Twitter. They're there every day.
There you go. Midday Money with Sean Higgs.
And I think two of the losses, one of them I had I think Wyoming was a half-point loss against whoever they were getting 5.5 at home, and they went to overtime and lost the game. And I think there's another bad one like that, lost in overtime something. So it's really that's a crazy run. That's insane.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's we all have those from time to time, but they're few and far between. But when you're on that type of run,
yeah,
I don't care.
And it's because like Twitter, people see it on Twitter, so you get a lot of comments from other people like who don't maybe comment in the show, so I don't know they're paying attention. But then all of a sudden, people they follow you. And Twitter's got crazy algorithm, so you don't even know until people start commenting like, "Hey, man, you've been crushing it lately." I'm like, "All right," and that was when I'm like on a 8-2 run. I'm like, "All right, that's okay." I didn't even mention it then because I'm like, whatever. It's par for the course because we could go 4-4, and next thing you know, you're 13-7, and you're 60%. But that doesn't seem as sexy as once you get those like a double digit. Like I feel like in baseball when you see a team that's like 14-3 or 21-6, you're like, wow, you get that crooked kind of number to a loss, or it just looks better than it actually is. So, but I don't know. You know me, I don't like to get too wound up, but that one I got to kind of.
You know what? If you don't get wound up after a run like that, then there's something drastically wrong with you, and you don't love what you're doing, and you're not excited about what you do. There's a fine line between.
The other thing is there's guys out there that'll let you know when you're 3-7 or 3-8.
But you won't hear from them. You won't hear from them on runs like this.
But you got to let them know that when the shoe's on the other foot, where are you guys? Where are you?
And it's like the one day Saturday I had like 6 games. Then I had 1 game one day. Like it's not like I'm just saying, oh, we got to press it. It's things are going great. We're just keep rolling out. That's not what I'm doing. 2 games here. like yesterday, it's like I had a free pick here. That was one of the picks in this. If I'm gonna give a free pick out, I'm gonna not talk myself into wanting to bet it, but it should be a strong kind of game. Like I kind of like this game, and this is why I like it. And I don't want to, like we said the other day on the show, it's like I don't want to commit to something if I don't really like it. But yeah, I don't know. Come on, guy. I don't like to get all wrapped up into hype. So, it's not. I feel like it's going to come crashing down one day, so I don't really talk about it. But that's a great run. I don't know.
But in terms of commitment, people have to realize this show, the picks are assigned to us. Okay, so and they're assigned well in advance, so it's not necessarily something that we're betting on personally, or for that matter, part of our premium card. On occasion, it is okay, but we more or less cover the high profile games. And as you can see, it's not like we don't want to win. We're 6-2 over the last 3 podcasts. Yesterday, Sean had a free winner on Florida. They crushed Alabama. I had Nevada plus the points, who won outright.
At Kansas here. That was another show.
Sorry,
that's another show I did with you at Florida, but I had Kansas in this one. Still another winner.
On the other show we did. So it was a good day. And Jesse, on Monday or Tuesday cashed in with his free pick, and on Saturday or Friday he cashed in with another free pick. So it's not like we're not trying to win with these free picks. We're covering high profile games. And again, folks, at the end of the day, I know a lot of you out there get it, but it's not always about free pick winners. More than, like we always say, we want to make you a smarter sports better today than yesterday. And you listen to our conversations and strategies on how we arrive at our picks, or some of our strategies overall when it comes to specific sports in our handicapping prowess that goes into it. So there you have it. I went 3-1 yesterday with my premium picks over at gamblesworld.net, and I cashed in with my top play, which was the Houston Rockets minus 7.5. Boy, the flight up wasn't very happy as Houston trailed by 6 at the half, but the landing was great as Houston covered easily by 13 points. I also went 2-1 in college basketball. And again, my NBA sides been on fire. 70, where are we here? NBA sides, NBA top plays, which I had yesterday, 41-21, 66%. My college basketball totals, 80-45, good for 64%. I didn't have a total yesterday in college basketball. Both of my winners were sides. I had UNLV and I had IPFW minus 10 as they covered easily. And my NBA sides, 74-47 with my last 121. That's good for 61%, folks. So gamblersworld.net is where you can get all our premium picks. If you look right now, Jesse's up there in the leaderboard and in several categories, 30-day, 60-day. Sean is, I believe, number 2 in the NBA overall since the site's inception. So it's there's a lot of areas you should check out. Who's hot, who's not, and I guarantee the 10 guys on the site, if you invest in them long term, that's the best way to go. You got 3-day plan, which is $99, a 7-day plan, which is $175, and a 30-day plan for $399. That might seem like a lot when you take it out of your pocket, but by the same token, you're guaranteed to make a profit, or else we will credit your account back the exact amount in which you paid for that specific purpose. Okay, we're going to be covering 3 college basketball games today, and I'm going to be looking at Tennessee at South Carolina, Sean, BYU at Iowa State, and Jesse, UConn at Marquette. And there you have it, folks. 3 games. All 6 teams are ranked in the top 25. And let's get right to it. Let's start with Jesse. Boy, what an intriguing matchup this is, Jesse. UConn at Marquette. Marquette will be playing with big-time revenge after being crushed at Connecticut, but now they get them on their home floor. And right now, UConn is a 5.5-point road favorite, and the total 151.5. Jesse, is this this number seems a little bit high to me when considering Marquette, how well they play at home, and the quality of Marquette, and also with Marquette playing with revenge. But UConn certainly a tremendous team. Your take, buddy.
Yeah, well, I know which way Sean's going to go with this because I've seen him post on Twitter, but I want to let Sean know, and I hope he believes me. My notes were already written. My mind was already made up before I saw his post. So I'm not trying to ride his tail feathers or anything. But yeah, you look at it. UConn's coming off of a 30-point win over Seton Hall. That clinched the Big East for them. So I mean, does it get to be a bigger letdown spot than that? They've already clinched. What do they have to prove? That was a revenge game for them. Now this is a revenge game for Marquette. Marquette lost 81-53 at UConn in January. And a quote from Coach Dan Hurley, UConn's coach, after the game, he said, we're going to play this team a couple more times this year, and I wouldn't expect it to go like this in the rest of them. And very prophetic, you know, he knows you beat a team by 30 on your home court, they're going to bring it next time, and it's not going to be easy. The 5.5, yeah, I mean, UConn can beat Marquette by 5.5 if they take the game seriously, if they're up for it, if they can match the intensity. But why would they in this spot? This is all the motivational angles point toward the home team. I know Tyler Kolek is out. I will point out when they lost at UConn, Kolek had 7 points on 2 of 11 shooting. Of course, they did lose, but you know, a team like Marquette should have the depth to bring a guy in. I will point out that the recent loss at Creighton, I did have Creighton in that game. They weren't getting blown out. They were only trailing by 2 at halftime. The game got away from them. That was a road game. Now they're back home. Marquette 14-1 at home. The only game they lost was to Butler. That's a game that they lost late. They had a healthy lead at halftime in that game. Covered the spread in 6 straight home games. The home teams won 5 straight between the two teams. Marquette was a home dog against UConn last year, won outright. Home teams won outright in 5 straight. The way I'm going to recommend we bet this, we rate our plays with a star rating, and we usually average 4 or 5 stars for our plays. And if we treat this as a 5-star play, and we say that a 5-star play is $100 for $100 bettors, I'm going to say that each star would translate into $20. So I would say 3 stars on the side, take the points, plus 5.5 with Marquette. 1 star, so $20 on Marquette on the money line, plus 185. And another star on Marquette on the double result, plus 300. So if you hit all 3 of those bets, you're walking away with double your money. And if they don't win outright and they just cover, you're still making some kind of profit. I do think that this is one of those games where if Marquette covers, they're probably going to win outright, because if it isn't close, they're probably going to get spanked. So I like Marquette, though. I just think natural letdown spot for UConn. And yeah, that's the way I'm going to go with it.
Double result. Explain that to the audience, Jesse, because I know some.
That means they have to win the first half, can't be tied at halftime. They have to be leading at halftime and win the game.
Okay. So in other words, a money line pick on Marquette in the first half and a money line pick on the final result put together.
Actually, Ross, I'd say it's a -0.5 spread pick for both is what it would be.
Okay. There you have it. And Jesse, we'll get Jesse's to review those 3 picks before the end of the show. But basically, our official pick on the game is Marquette plus 5.5 from Mr. Schule. And yeah, Tyler Kolek, like I said, excellent player. We talked about him Saturday. Marquette still was able to win without him. But Sean, you know, in a big game like this, I got to believe that this 5.5, it probably would have been somewhere around 3.5 or 3 if Kolek was playing. But your take, buddy.
Yeah, he's in. I mean, it's probably a 3, right? Similar to something out of the Creighton kind of game. And I put, like I said, I put on there, I'm like, Connecticut -5 tomorrow with this guy out. And honestly, they don't know if he's going to come back for the rest of the year, too, by the way, with this guy. It's not like it's some
terrible.
kind of.
That would be horrible.
So, you really got to kind of rate them down. I want to take the dog here. I do. But I think the other guy who was out ill is going to play, which is fine because you need a contributor here.
Yeah.
The second half for Creighton just kind of scares me. Like, I want to take the points. Like Jess says, I'm in my final home game of the season. It's a revenge spot. Everything, we got to rally because we might be without our second best guy or the best guy on the team, whoever he's second leading scorer. I think it's to get in front of UConn. I don't know. I mean, I like the points. I do. I haven't taken it. I want to. It's just I fell in this dilemma with the Marquette game on Friday. We were talking about that game, and I wasn't sure who's playing. The line was 3.5. It was 5 at 7-8. I don't know. I can't pull it myself. But I like Marquette. I'm with Jesse on his thought process here, so I would lean that way. Just haven't put any of my own money on it.
Yeah, I mistakenly said that Marquette won without Kolek on Saturday at Creighton, but that wasn't the case. So excuse me for that mistake. The one good thing on a positive side for Marquette is Shaka Smart. Historically, even in his days at VCU, he likes to play a lot of guys. You know what I mean? And they have in Marquette. This Marquette team, even though VCU at one point went to the Final Four with Shaka Smart. I believe this Marquette team is amongst the most talented he's ever had in terms of depth. So that would certainly bode well for Jesse's cause in that regard. All right, let's look at BYU and Iowa State. Again, BYU, they haven't been real good on the road in conference play, but again, we've touched upon that time and time again. Yet they went to Kansas and pulled off the upset there, come from behind win, and really down the stretch of that game were dominant and pulling away for a win. And they're going to be taking on an Iowa State team that's been awfully good at home this year, Sean. Iowa State is a hefty 7-point favorite here. The total either 146.5 or 147, depending on where you look. But I don't know. I think they're begging you to take BYU here at this big a number. And Sean, doesn't matter what I think. Our official pick is what you think.
Yeah, so this was a 6.5, 7. I'm sure we'll see 7.5s in this one. You're 17-0. You're in a revenge spot. You lost by 15. BYU was hot at home, killed you on the threes. And you look at this line, it makes sense. Iowa's 3 in a row? 7 of 8, 10 of 12. Home wins. Last game's at home, 13-7, 8, 12 points. There's a 4-point win there over Kansas. It's Kansas, a better squad. I'm going to lay it with Iowa. I will. It's a big number. BYU, they came back and they were down 10, or down 8 or 9 against Kansas. I'm like, all right, I had Kansas. I'm thinking this is what's going to happen because, BYU on the road. 10-point loss to K-State, 10 at Oklahoma State, 16 to Oklahoma, 7 at Texas Tech, 9 at Baylor, 5 at UCF. I mean, you beat West Virginia. I had West Virginia that game, getting 7 or 8 points. I don't think they should be a favorite. And they were favored in the game. They weren't an underdog of a touchdown or 4 or 3. They were a favorite. They should have won the game anyway. I'm not sold on them on the road. Yeah. Great team. No one thought they'd really compete coming over to the Big 12. I mean, they were always like the third best team anyway behind Gonzaga and St. Mary's, or sometimes the second best after Gonzaga. So it's not like they're a terrible program. But again, road games here, it's a little tougher than playing at Santa Clara and San Diego and Pepperdines of the world. Give me Iowa. Again, Iowa State 17-0, and they're winning by 7, 8, 10, 13 points at home. I will lay it and not think twice about it. Iowa State to the window.
Iowa State's sneaky good, Jesse. When you watch them, they don't wow you with the eye test. Like some teams you watch, when UConn's on their game, or even Marquette when they're on their game, it's like, wow, this team has an excellent opportunity to win it all. But that's not the case with Iowa State. They just do things in a methodical, workman-like fashion. They're not real flashy. They play solid defense. They're efficient offensively. But what's your take here, Jesse?
Yeah, when it opened at 5, I would have been all over Iowa State. I don't want to be on the wrong end of the line movement, but I'm going to talk about the total. I did mention a few times, more than a few times on this show, that this time of year, defensive intensity increases. We get close, now we got things like conference championships on the line, and NCAA tournament berths at stake and such seeding, and we're playing for high stakes now. And I've been disappointed in college with the totals haven't been going as low as I kind of expected them to. But I said the same thing about the NBA, and I don't know if you guys have noticed the totals in the NBA in the last 2 weeks, but they're way down. And I still think we're going to get there with the college, and this is a big game. I did have the under in BYU's game at Kansas. They played pretty strong defense. You don't think of BYU as a good defensive team. They're more of an over team, but this time of year, both these teams, I think, can turn in a strong defensive effort, and I will go with under 147.
All right. So Jesse likes the under in this game. Our official pick from Sean Higgs is Iowa State -7 over BYU on their home floor, where they're 17-0 at home this season. And, you look at Iowa State, that's the other part, is Jesse brought that up, is their defensive prowess. I mean, this is a team that's number 2 nationally in adjusted defensive efficiency over at KenPom. They're only allowing, I should say, 90.3 points per the opposition's 100 possessions, so which is tremendous defense. And BYU, on the other hand, they're number 52 nationally. Like Jesse says, you look at BYU as a team that's all offensive, but on a national scale, they're doing well. But within the Big 12, they're number 12 out of 14 teams in defensive efficiency. And they play awfully fast. They're number 2 in terms of offensive tempo. And this is a contrast of styles because Iowa State is not a team that likes to get up and down. They're near the bottom when it comes to offensive tempo in the Big 12. So intriguing matchup there. But Mr. Schule, who could argue with him, what his record's been over the last 2 decades. And Sean, look, when you're 28-4 with your last 32 free picks, you're doing pretty well. So I wouldn't argue with his case too on Iowa State. All right, so let me look at my game here, and that's Tennessee and South Carolina, 7 p.m. Eastern time start. The Vols are a 5.5-point road favorite, a total 139.5. I looked at this game. I says Tennessee's playing with revenge, and I looked for every reason to use Tennessee, and the more I looked into it, the more I didn't like them. I mean, Tennessee, coming off that impressive win at Alabama, is a 4.5-point dog on Saturday, 81-75. They won that game despite shooting just 36.4% from the field. Basically, they shut Alabama down defensively and held them to less than 40% as well. And look, a road favorite now at South Carolina. They're the top team in the SEC right now with a 13-4 conference record. And they're facing a team that's in second place in the SEC at 12-4. And they host Kentucky next in the regular season finale. So this is a tough stretch for Tennessee, not just because of the opponents they're playing, but the emotions that have to be spent to win these 3 games. They already spent some of that at Alabama, a very difficult place to play. Now they have to go to South Carolina, and they got Kentucky up next. South Carolina, by the way, they have thrived in this role as a single-digit underdog this year. As an underdog of 9.5 points or fewer this year, South Carolina has gone 10-0 against the spread and 9-1 straight up. And that includes 7-0 straight up in ATS in their last 7 in that role and winning by an average of 9 points per game as an underdog. So South Carolina, look, nobody expected them to be here. Okay. Everybody expected Tennessee to contend for an SEC regular season title this year. But South Carolina, if you look at the preseason hype that went into the SEC, I should say the preseason predictions on who is going to win and where they're rated, they were ranked near the bottom of the SEC in terms of possibilities of winning the SEC. But here they are. They're 12-4. If they win this game, they now are tied with Tennessee at top of the SEC standings, but they'll have the tiebreaker because they already beat them already. They won at Tennessee earlier this season, 61-57, I believe. and they held Tennessee, and they won that game despite shooting 33% from the field. So it's not like they were on top of their game. They just shut them down defensively, and they benefited from making 10 threes. And this South Carolina team, by the way, folks, they started the year 21-2. Then they lose 2 straight, and everybody said, South Carolina, they're coming back down to earth. They were a fraud. Well, since then, they've gone 3-0 straight up in ATS. 2 of those games, they were a road underdog. And I just like South Carolina here with the points. I'm not going to be brave enough to pick a 5.5-point dog as a money line pick in this game, like Jesse was with Marquette. But I will say that it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if they win this game outright. And I'm going to take South Carolina here, plus the 5.5 versus Tennessee on South Carolina's home floor. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, this is like I think I said South Carolina here against A&M as a free pick last week or whenever it was. I'm like, why you get? I will gladly take a team that's 22-3 or 5 or whatever they are, and nobody gives them any respect. It's March, And in this spot, I got a home dog who's again in second place. I've already beat you. You got a revenge spot, but as you said, Alabama, Kentucky on deck. And let's be honest, South Carolina, they might be in second place. That's not the sexy basketball name. These guys were again picked to be. Like Jesse said, they were picked last year and somehow won 14 games and were 500 at home or whatever they were to have a 500 record. This year, again, picked at the bottom. Now, it's crazy because they lost a close one to LSU at home. They lost to Georgia LSU has stolen some wins. So, all right. Georgia, you're like, wow, you win one of those and you're in first place, which is crazy when you look at, they lost by 40 at Auburn. They lost by almost 30 at Alabama. The first time they played. 27
at Alabama. Yep.
Crazy. But they beat Florida here. They beat Kentucky here. I'm with you on the points. Sign me up. 5.5. It was 5-2 went up, which is normally that would worry me. I don't care. People bet Tennessee because you think revenge spot. Okay. And I get it. I'm all for a revenge spot, but more, I'd prefer that at home. If they were laying 12, I'd think, get them at home. It's March 6th. Can this team that's in second place with 20-something wins get I don't know this much. I mean, if this team was Kentucky or Alabama or some other team, they'd be talking about them going to the Final Four and, is this worth a shot to get, right? How we talk about Baylor, right? The bigger kind of school. Any other team playing like this, a defensive team no less, they'd get a lot more love. No, it's South Carolina. Nobody's got any love for them.
Yeah, it's it's not like Tennessee can't get their revenge here.
Oh, yeah.
And we still win the pick, because again, like I mentioned yesterday with the Nevada game, I'm getting points, and that was 5.5. So, Jesse, South Carolina, I mentioned how well they have done as a single-digit dog this year. And the 2 games that Sean mentioned, Auburn and Alabama, where they got crushed, they were double-digit road dogs in those contests. But, they've been undervalued all year. Take those blowout losses aside, and they've thrived in this role. Not only 10-0 ATS and 9-1 straight up as a single-digit dog, but I believe they're 11-2 against the spread as just a dog this year, and 10-3 straight up. So this is a team that's used to being in this role, used to not getting any respect, used to playing with a chip on their shoulder, but just your thoughts in that regard.
I think I went through the same process as you, Ross. You got the revenge spot for Tennessee. Yeah. You look for a reason why you can take Tennessee, but you look at the line, and the data just doesn't support it. I mean, this line's out of whack. It shows complete disrespect for South Carolina, and like Sean said, it's March. This game is essentially for the SEC title, and people want to write off the home dog here. The eye test might tell you Tennessee's a better team, but what does Ross like to say? That numbers don't lie and liars don't figure. Well, the numbers say that Tennessee's not 5.5 points better than South Carolina when they're playing on the Gamecocks home court. But rather than the side, I'm going to go back to the total. Like I said about the NCAA tournament last year, 33 of the first 44 games go under the total because of the high stakes, because of the winner takes all nature of those tournament games. And this is essentially a game for the SEC title. Tennessee clinches if they win. South Carolina moves into a tie for first place if they win. Doesn't get any higher. Well, I mean, I guess it gets a little higher stakes, but very high stakes game. They went way under in the previous meeting at Tennessee. I believe they've gone under this number in 4 straight. This total is higher than it was in any of the previous 4 head-to-head between these teams. And I expect to see defense, some heavy-duty defense in this game.
Yeah, 2 teams that play really good defense, as Jesse alluded to. As a matter of fact, the first time they played in Knoxville earlier this season, when South Carolina pulled off that upset as a 14-point underdog, like I alluded to, South Carolina only shot the ball 33%. They had 10 threes in that game, but Tennessee shot 36%. So 2 teams, you look at South Carolina, number 3 in adjusted defensive efficiency within the SEC in terms of SEC play. I mentioned that Iowa State was number 2 in that category nationally, but Tennessee is number 3. You look at South Carolina, they're dead last in SEC action when it comes to offensive tempo. So that's not a team that likes to play fast. And on the other hand, Tennessee does like to play fast somewhat, but as we've seen with Tennessee, they'll play any style you want to play. And they can get lured into a slower pace game like we saw the first time around. So there you have it. So here's our picks.
You know what I want? Hold on a second, Russ, sure. Fast. I'll say I had this game when we did this. I think I took Tennessee because I'm like, wow, a 12-point favorite here. And if you look at the history with Tennessee winning by 30, 40 points, I was like, it's a big number, but, I'll ride with your odds makers on a huge number like that. Well, obviously, I was totally wrong. I just figured I'd look at that. I'm looking at their past matchups because Jesse was mentioning the totals. And I'm seeing 45, 42, 57. I'm like, wait a second. This looks very familiar. I was on the wrong side of this wall the other day, crashing down on me a month ago. But
they actually went all the way up to 14 in that game. So, hey, you know what? It happens, and you made a good case. And at that time, I think that me and Jesse, I'm not sure. I can't speak for Jesse. I know that what I said was I was not a believer yet in South Carolina. I thought that they were a team that benefited from a extremely soft non-conference schedule. But, the SEC is one of the best conferences in America, probably second only to the Big 12, and from top to bottom. And they've proven their wear. They're no fluke, and they continue to get undervalued. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to that matchup. But our official pick in that game comes from me. I'm on South Carolina plus 5.5 over Tennessee. Sean Higgs likes Iowa State minus the 7 over BYU. And Jesse likes Marquette plus 5.5 against UConn. Jesse also has 2 other picks in that game, smaller picks. His biggest pick being Marquette plus 5.5. He also likes Marquette on the money line. And Jesse, what's that money line again? Go ahead. Tell them the other 2 picks.
So the recommendation was if you're a $100 better, take 60 and put it on Marquette plus the 5.5. Take 20 and put it on Marquette plus 185 on the money line, and take another 20 and put it on the double result, which means they got to win the first half, win the game outright at 3-1 odds. So that's a pretty decent payout if Marquette just wins the game.
And as Jesse pointed out, it's at minus 0.5, which means it's not a money line first half, and a money line, obviously a money line first half, you would get a push on a tie, but you're going to lose on a tie. So they have to be ahead at the half, and they have to win the game outright on that double result. All right. So guys, always a pleasure, and great job once again, as always. Jesse and Sean will be back with me on Friday on our live show at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We encourage you folks to join us at that time and chime in with all your questions and comments. And as if you've been with us on those live shows, we get to just about all of the comments and questions that come our way, time permitting. And also we'll be looking at 3 college basketball games on Saturdays large card, which will be the last large card on a Saturday, guys. And then we get into conference tournament action. And also, don't forget, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so, folks. Click that black subscribe button right underneath, and that will get you subscribed to our YouTube channel. And that's absolutely free. There'll never be a charge for that. There's no strings attached, no hidden agenda. And if you're on your PC, you'll see a WC logo on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Just click on that. That will serve the same purpose. And take one step further. Go into your YouTube settings, and this goes for not only the new people who just subscribe or people have subscribed with us already. Go into your YouTube settings if you haven't done this already and click on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our 5 podcasts per week going up on the channel. Don't forget, $249 March Madness special for all 3 of us and the other 7 guys at gamblersworld.net, and that will get you the rest of the regular season, conference tournament action, the NCAA tournament, the NIT, and the CBI, right through all 3 championship games in those postseason tournaments. Jesse, there's a like button right underneath.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. It's just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast each and every day. And our goal will always be, and it's to make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. Until the next time, for Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.